Hey there, this is Tom Crandall from Gear Mashers, and today we're taking a look at a really cool e-bike by Batch Bicycles. It's called the E-Commuter. It retails for a little under $2,000, which is a great price for an e-bike these days. And so for the past 2-3 weeks now, I've been riding this bike, commuting to work and testing it out. It's a class 1 e-bike, which means it goes up to 20 miles an hour, which is pretty fast considering you're not really having to put a lot of effort into it. It's a power assist motor, which means as you pedal, it assists your pedaling and makes it go faster, which is super cool. So there's 3 classes of e-bikes. So this one's class 1. Then there's a class 2 that has like a throttle. Think of sort of like a motorcycle, and it just has a throttle on there. And then there's a class 3, which goes up to, instead of 20 miles an hour, it goes up to 28 miles an hour. And certain class 3 bikes aren't really supposed to be on bike trails, but it's hard to tell these days how fast a particular e-bike can go. But anyway, really neat bike. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover some of the basics of the bike and let you decide if this is something that you would think about getting. First off, you'll notice that it is gray, so it's sort of a nice gray finish. And it looks definitely like a commuter bike. Obviously, they set it up that way, and that's why it's called the E-Commuter. So it has fenders here, both front and rear. And the rear fenders, one thing that I noticed with these fenders is these bars are pretty thin. So if you move the bike up against something and it bends the bars, that could sort of shift where the fender is and it can rub against the tire, so you just have to move it into the proper position. They also, at least on this particular model, they also included a rack, which is really nice. Again, for a commuter, you can put the panniers on there, which would be convenient. Rather than having a backpack and having your back all sweat, you'd have the panniers on there. They have a water bottle holder, and then it comes with pedals, so you don't have to put extra pedals on, seat, everything. It did not come with lights, so I put the lights on. That would have been a nice feature to have on this particular bike, would be to actually have a lighting system that integrates with the Bosch system. And speaking of the Bosch system, so this is the active line, and again, it will go up to 20 miles an hour power assist, and it has a Power Pack 400, which is nice. And there's a little button on the side here, and as you click it, let me push it, it'll indicate how many bars are left on the battery. So we're almost about halfway through the battery, and I've been getting, with this bike set to turbo, which is the highest setting you can get, which means that it gives you the most assistance, about 40 miles, which isn't too bad. And then you'd have to power the battery back up. Not a big deal. And for most commuters, that's plenty of range. Now, you can go into different settings. So let's take a look at the settings. Okay, so let's go up to the computer here. So you have different modes, so I'm going to turn it off. And so when you turn it back on, what you're going to see is it's going to show you your battery life. So I have 3 bars here. It also shows you your trip distance, so 126 miles. And then you have over on the side, you have this plus and minus buttons. And what these will do is to change the mode. So as I click on the plus, it'll go to Eco, then Tour, then Sport, and then Turbo. Depending on your mode, that will indicate how much assistance the motor will give you as you pedal. When you have it set on turbo, you're looking at about 350% effort that will assist you, which is pretty good. And then it'll be able to get up to that 20 mile an hour maximum that it can assist you at. Over on the right hand side, they also have gears. So it's pretty easy. You can shift down about 3 gears and then shift up 1 gear. Normally, like if I'm at a stop or something like that, I'll shift down to an easy gear, and then once I get up to speed, I'll shift back up to one of the harder gears. They have a little batch number on here I thought was sort of neat, so 61056. It also says that this is a class 1, so 250 watts, 20 miles an hour. One of the things that I think would be nice is they have these 2 water bottle holes in the bike, but you can see that the bottle's almost hitting the top here, and you can't put in bigger bottles. So it would be nice to lower these a little bit further, because it's not getting in the way of the battery, and so lowering them down maybe almost close to the bottom here might even allow you to put in a bigger bottle. The bike itself is super solid, and you can see here, look at these welds. These are crazy how thick these welds are. I'm not going to have any issue with that. The pedals, I thought initially that they were sort of cheap because they're plastic, but I found them super comfortable, no issues there, and they have a little bit of reflective, so I wouldn't change the pedals out. The kickstand is really nice. One thing I did notice is if, depending on where the bike's set up, you have to lean it away. So like if you're on a hill or something like that, you want to lean it into the hill versus having it go uphill. It has quick release both in the front and both in the rear and in the front. Also, the bike has disc brakes, which is really nice. You want to have disc brakes on an e-bike. The stopping power with the disc brakes is much better than cantilevers. The seat, I thought the seat was pretty good. A lot of times I'll switch out seats when I get a new bike, but the seat felt really comfortable, so I wouldn't switch anything out. There's not much on the bars and things like that. I thought they were pretty comfortable, especially the handle grips here. They're really grippy, and again, easy to get to the brakes, so really easy there. I had no issues. Maybe if you had shorter hands or something like that, it might be an issue, but I had 0 issues with that. The engine is in the center of the bike, and what that actually does, it actually increases the performance of the bike, because you have a lot of weight here in the center, means that the bike is a little bit more stable. And I found that going around turns and things like that, having it in here like this versus maybe in the wheels on either side, just makes the bike ride really, really smooth. It's almost like you're on a railroad track or something. It just tracks really, really well. Other than that, the battery. So with the battery, they include a lock, and so you have these keys here, and so if you needed to take the battery off, you just insert the key in and then just turn it, and you can take the battery off. Really easy. And then to put it back on, I'm just doing this with one hand. You hear that little click and you're good to go. And then you just take the key out. They have a charging port here on the bottom, so you don't have to take the battery out to charge it. If you do take the battery out, there's a port on the bottom of the battery, and so you can do that as well. I usually, when I'm charging the bike, I just leave the battery on the bike and just open this port up and then plug in the charging cord, and it works great. Overall, I think the bike is a fantastic bike, especially for $2,000. You can go pretty fast. You know, you're going to be passing people that have $5,000 bikes on this e-bike. It's pretty legit. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. That really helps me get in products like these. Also hit the like button if you like this video. And again, this is Batch Bicycles, and this is the E-Commuter, less than $2,000, or right around $2,000 with taxes. It's a good value. I'm actually really, really impressed. I wasn't sure when I first saw the bike. I was like, maybe not. I'll just take a chance and review it and see what I think. But it's a great bike. Now, as far as my preference, I would love to see Batch Bicycles come out with a Class 3 e-bike. that can go up to 28 miles an hour. I did find that it was pretty easy to achieve 20 miles an hour on this bike, and then once you hit that 20 mile an hour mark, you don't get that assistance anymore. So having a 28 mile an hour class 3 e-bike would be really cool. So yeah, Batch Bicycles, great bike, great company. Check them out. Thanks so much.